Today, we're going to explore a concept that many of us have been conditioned to believe since childhood, the idea that being agreeable is the key to success and acceptance. We're taught from an early age that being cooperative, flexible, and accommodating makes us likable, and in many ways it does. Society rewards those who are easygoing, who rarely cause friction, and who seem to blend seamlessly into any group. But there's a hidden cost beneath this seemingly positive mindset, a subtle trap that can cause us to lose our sense of self. For years, we've been led to believe that in order to be accepted, we must always say yes, suppress our opinions, and go along with what others expect of us. We're told that being agreeable is the path to harmony and connection. But what happens when this desire for approval becomes more important than our own truth? What happens when our need to be liked overrides our ability to stand up for ourselves? This is the first thing we need to understand. Being agreeable isn't just about cooperation. It's often about seeking external validation. We've all experienced it, nodding in agreement when we secretly disagree, staying quiet when we want to speak up, or taking on responsibilities we don't really want just to avoid discomfort. It feels good to be appreciated, to be seen as someone who gets along with everyone. But at what cost? We begin to feel exhausted, drained, and sometimes even resentful. Those who once admired our flexibility start to take it for granted, and slowly we start to feel like we're fading into the background, always supporting others, never truly standing in our own light. Let's face it, this isn't real cooperation. When we constantly put others' comfort above our own needs, we aren't showing respect to ourselves. This habit of over-accommodating leads to emotional neglect and eventually disconnects us from who we truly are. Say you see this happening, but it doesn't have to continue. We don't have to keep shrinking ourselves to fit into roles that were never meant for us. The truth is, being agreeable is a valuable trait, but only when it comes from a place of choice, not obligation. Cooperation should enhance relationships, not erase your voice. We need to recognize when we're crossing the line from helpfulness to self-neglect, and we need to stop apologizing for putting our well-being first. We don't have to say yes to every request. We don't have to be available at all times. We don't have to silence ourselves to maintain peace. In this conversation, we'll dive deeper into the dynamics of being overly agreeable, why it can become a trap, and how we can reclaim our autonomy without losing our compassion. The journey to living authentically starts with recognizing the problem, and the problem isn't kindness. It's the fear that keeps us trapped in the cycle of constant accommodation and self-sacrifice. Today, I'm going to challenge that fear. I'll give you tools to live with integrity, confidence, and clarity so you can stop shrinking and start standing tall. So let's break down the illusion that being agreeable always leads to happiness. It's time to examine the damage that unchecked compliance can cause in our lives and start creating a healthier, more fulfilling way to navigate the world. Because at the end of the day, the most empowering thing you can do is to stop adjusting yourself to fit others' expectations and start honoring your own values, your own voice, and your own worth. Let's dive into this transformative journey, the illusion of approval. Being agreeable, it's something we're taught from an early age. We're encouraged to be respectful, adaptable, and non-confrontational. It's what society expects from us, whether it's from our parents, teachers, or colleagues. And while these traits are admirable and serve a purpose in building relationships, they can easily evolve into something harmful if we're not careful. The trap of people pleasing is that it's not just about being kind, it's about gaining approval. You become conditioned to think that if you're agreeable enough, people will accept you, admire you, and include you. And so you do everything to meet their expectations. You suppress your thoughts, ignore your boundaries, and say yes to things you don't really want to do simply because you fear conflict or rejection. You find yourself going along with decisions you don't fully support, attending events you don't enjoy, and making sacrifices that leave you feeling empty. But at what point does this behavior stop serving you? Being agreeable all the time doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you more respected or more valued. It makes you invisible. You become someone who others rely on but rarely consider deeply. When you're constantly trying to be agreeable, when do you ever get to focus on your own goals, dreams, and desires? People may think that being easygoing builds stronger relationships, but the reality is that people who always say yes are often taken for granted. They become expected to accommodate, to adjust, to bend without anyone ever asking what they need in return. Over time, this creates a pattern where you feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. You see, being agreeable without limits isn't cooperation, it's self neglect. It's allowing your fear of disappointment to override your own needs. And that's where the trap lies. By always trying to please everyone else, you forget to take care of yourself. You may end up feeling drained, frustrated, or resentful. You might even begin to feel disconnected from your own identity. But being agreeable doesn't have to mean abandoning yourself. The issue isn't with being kind hearted or adaptable, it's with the imbalance. When you give too much without receiving anything in return, you lose your sense of self. You start to feel like you have to be everything for everyone, which is impossible. You can't be all things to all people, and you shouldn't have to be. So ask yourself, is being agreeable really helping you grow, or is it holding you back? Are you becoming the best version of yourself, or are you sacrificing your dreams and happiness just to gain approval? The trap of people pleasing is something that holds you back from living a fulfilling and authentic life. It's time to break free from this cycle, to stop living for everyone else's expectations and to start living for yourself. Saying no can feel like one of the hardest things to do, especially if you've spent most of your life trying to be the nice person who pleases others. The fear of disappointing someone, or worse, being labeled as rude or selfish, can stop you from drawing the line and setting boundaries. But here's the truth: saying no is one of the most empowering acts you can do for yourself. You've probably heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, and yet many of us try to do just that. We say yes to things we don't want to do, agree to take on tasks we don't have time for, and give our energy to people who don't appreciate it. This leads to burnout, resentment, and ultimately a feeling of being trapped. But here's the secret: you don't have to say yes to everything, and you certainly don't have to feel guilty about it. Understanding the root of guilt. The first step in learning how to say no without feeling guilty is understanding where the guilt comes from. Often, guilt arises from a fear of letting others down, or the belief that your worth is tied to how much you do for others. In reality, guilt is often a learned behavior, something that's been ingrained in us over time, especially if we've been conditioned to be the nice person who always says yes. Here's the thing: when you say yes to everyone else, you're essentially saying no to yourself. You're putting your needs, your time, and your well being on the back burner, which is neither sustainable nor healthy. Guilt is just a feeling, and like any feeling, it can be managed. The truth is, you have the right to protect your time and energy. Saying no is not an attack on the other person. It's a way of taking care of yourself and ensuring you don't lose your sense of self. The power of a polite no. One of the reasons people struggle with saying no is the fear of sounding rude. But you don't need to be harsh or aggressive when you decline someone's request. You can say no politely and assertively without being disrespectful. For example, I'm sorry, I'm unable to help with that right now. I have other commitments that I need to prioritize, so I won't be able to say yes this time. Thank you for asking, but I'm going to have to pass on this. The key is to keep it simple, clear, and kind. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're saying no, but if you feel comfortable, you can offer a brief reason. The important part is that you honor your boundaries and prioritize yourself. Practice saying no. Like any skill, saying no gets easier with practice. Start small. Begin with situations where the stakes are lower, such as declining an invitation to an event you don't want to attend, or saying no to a request that doesn't align with your values or priorities. As you practice, you'll become more comfortable with it, and it will begin to feel less daunting. Remember, you're not responsible for how others react when you say no. If someone is disappointed or upset, that's their emotion to process, not yours. By saying no, you're actually helping them understand your boundaries and teaching them to respect your time and energy. Reframe your perspective on no. Finally, it's important to reframe how you view saying no. Instead of seeing it as something negative, see it as an act of self care. Every time you say no, you're giving yourself permission to focus on what truly matters to you. You're creating space for your own goals, your own well being, and your own happiness. Saying no is not about shutting others out, it's about creating balance in your life and ensuring you're not stretched too thin. Saying no is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's a sign that you value yourself enough to put your needs first. It's a way of reclaiming control over your time, your choices, and your life. So the next time someone asks something of you that doesn't align with your priorities, don't be afraid to say no, and most importantly, don't feel guilty about it. By saying no when necessary, you'll be able to say yes to the things that truly matter. You'll have more energy, more focus, and more peace of mind to devote to the people, projects, and goals that are aligned with your vision for your life. One of the most empowering things you can do in your life is to stop apologizing for who you are. For too long, you may have tried to fit yourself into boxes that society, friends, or family have set for you. You may have bent your own values, altered your beliefs, or dimmed your light just to be liked or accepted. But the truth is, the world needs the real you, not the version you've been pretending to be. You have a unique set of qualities, talents, and experiences that make you who you are. And the moment you start embracing your true self without apologies is the moment you unlock your fullest potential. Stop seeking validation. In the quest to be the nice person, many of us become trapped in the cycle of seeking external validation. We look for approval from others before we feel worthy or confident enough to pursue our goals. We become afraid of rejection or criticism, which stops us from living authentically. But here's a powerful truth: you are enough exactly as you are. Seeking constant validation from others only drains your energy and makes you dependent on the opinions of others. You will never be truly fulfilled if you rely on someone else's approval to feel good about yourself. The key to embracing your true self is learning how to validate yourself first. Your worth doesn't come from what others think of you, it comes from your own belief in your value. When you stop waiting for others to give you permission to be yourself, you reclaim your power. You stop compromising your happiness for the sake of approval, and you start living life on your own terms. Embrace your imperfections. Being the nice person often means hiding your flaws and imperfections to maintain a certain image. But here's the reality: nobody is perfect. We all have flaws, and that's what makes us human. Embracing your imperfections is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. The more you accept your flaws, the less energy you waste trying to be someone you're not. This doesn't mean you stop growing or improving yourself. It means you give yourself permission to be imperfect and still be worthy of love, respect, and success. It means you stop apologizing for your mistakes and instead you learn from them and move forward. Your imperfections are what make you unique. When you embrace them, you not only accept yourself, but you also teach others to accept you too.